Mm, mm, mm. What is up, everybody? Happy Friday. It's July 31st. It's August. Like we're almost in August. This is crazy. The year has just flown by. It feels like nothing's happened this year. Am I right? How are you guys doing? I hope you're good. Catch me in my Bitcoin Magazine t-shirt. Oh, you don't have one of these? You better check out the Bitcoin Magazine store. Just saying. We got some cool swag in there. We're getting more swag soon. Announcements coming around that too. It's 7:31. It's Friday. The weekend's coming. We got a lot of stuff that happened this week. So let's cover it. Let's talk about it. And we're going to start with kind of the most obvious thing to start with. Bitcoin's price has been rallying. It's been going crazy. We were live earlier this week talking about it, but we went from 9,000, a little above 9,000, and we're pushing 11.5 now. I haven't even checked the price recently to see if we've even passed that, but it's been a crazy week for Bitcoin. We are in a bull market. It's official. I don't know if I have to get egg on my face for saying it, but we're in a bull market. I can't wait to see how this thing turns out, but it feels like we're all of the chart patterns that you had before, all the ways that you thought the market was going to move, before this time, throw it out the window. We're in a new world now. Get ready. This is exciting. Let's talk about some news. Okay. First big piece of news. Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs reached out to all their investors in one of their official investor, newsletters and said that they need to start hedging against the USD. They're coming out. They're saying the USD is in trouble. It might lose its reserve status. It might, all of a sudden not be this powerhouse USD that we all think of it as. And it's like, okay, all right, we've been saying that for many years now. And Bitcoin is this cure kind of for that entire problem. Well, did Goldman Sachs say buy Bitcoin? No, they said buy gold. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Bitcoin, Goldman Sachs just says everyone hedge the U.S. economy by buying gold. Whereas 2 months ago, wasn't it in May that they came out and they said something about how Bitcoin, is a scam and don't buy it, and they're not going to tell anyone to buy it because, it's not real. And then they're going to tell people to hedge the U.S. economy and the U.S. dollar with gold instead of Bitcoin. It's like, this is how wealth generation or wealth transfer happens, right? You listen to someone who's been around for a long time, who everyone assumes they know what they're talking about, and they don't. They just don't know what they're talking about. You can look at Fidelity and how they're treating Bitcoin. You can look at JP Morgan, how they're treating Bitcoin. They get it. Goldman Sachs doesn't get it. So, everyone can say boo-hoo that Goldman isn't telling all their investors to buy Bitcoin. But I say, sheesh, I don't care. Bitcoin doesn't care. We're going to keep going up. Eventually, they're going to FOMO in. And, they deserve to lose out on all the gains because ultimately Bitcoin is the hedge against the US dollar. It is the reason why we're all in a lifeboat right now watching, the world burn and feeling like we have a chance at safety, So seeing people try and hedge it any other way is disappointing. But ultimately, that's just a free market and natural selection kind of taking its course. So good riddance, Goldman. Eventually you're going to come around, and when you do, drop us a line at Bitcoin Magazine. We'll teach you a little bit about Bitcoin. Next piece of news. This is a really exciting one too. Early versions of Utrexo, a scaling tech for Bitcoin nodes, has been released. So Taj, known as Thaddeus Dryja, I hope I got your name pronounced right, an author of the original Lightning Network white paper, has released a first version of Utrexo, a lighter weight Bitcoin node that replaced the Utrexo set with a cryptographic accumulator that makes nodes smaller and faster while maintaining security and privacy. He said, quote, "The current Utrexo code is able to connect to a server, download the blockchain, and verify all the transactions and signatures, and do so using hardly any disk space. Instead of a multi-gigabyte database, Utrexo stores a single file of a few hundred bytes, which represents the state of the current blockchain." So, this is huge news in terms of scaling. I feel like people aren't talking about Utrexo enough. One of the things that nodes have to do is they have to store the entire Utrexo set in order to efficiently run the blockchain right now for Bitcoin. And that's a lot right now, and it's growing. It's growing at a huge rate. probably even a higher rate than the actual Bitcoin blockchain itself. I don't know. Check me on that. I could be wrong, but it's every single time you have a transaction and you generate a new UTXO set, like you're adding that to Bitcoin's, node storage. So this is a really cool way to be able to, complement some of the other scalability aspects that we have going on in Bitcoin and make it that much easier to be able to, scale the blockchain. Now, are there drawbacks? I don't have enough of a coding understanding and knowledge to say that. Could there be some sort of centralization risk? Maybe. I don't know. We should have someone come on to Bitcoin Magazine and talk about those, pros and cons. And, I'm sure that we have I know we have a really great article about Utrexo on Bitcoin Magazine. So check that out. Moving on to the next bit of news. This has been such a lot of news this week. Ledger announced that there's a data breach. This week, the hardware wallet provider Ledger announced that it had suffered a data breach in late June to its marketing and e-commerce database, which comprised roughly 1 million email addresses. The firm said that the vulnerability was identified through its bug bounty program in mid-July, and then it realized the dataset had already been compromised. Hardware competitor Trezor tweeted out that it gets rid of all sensitive data about consumer orders, including email addresses, after 90 days. So, of course, Trezor had to jump in there with its own take on Ledger's news. So there's a few things to think about here, all right? First off, this is not necessarily a hack of, Ledger itself, right? No one's taking your Bitcoins, right? No one has gotten into your hardware device and is now wreaking havoc on your holdings and nest eggs. What they're saying, though, is that when you used Ledger to either sign up for their email marketing, or when you bought something through Ledger's website or something like that, that could be where you see the breach happening. So, it's not great, right? It's not the end of the world. It's not great. And I think I saw that there could be even, physical addresses if people had ledgers delivered to them that may be compromised in this. So it's definitely worth reading into. Make sure that you understand if you've had some sort of data breach or compromised from this. Don't worry about your Bitcoins, though. They're okay. But this is also, this is another thing that when you have these trusted third parties, what does Nick Szabo always say? Trusted third parties are security loopholes, right? They are the way that all of the insecurity of the web happens. So always try and own your data. This is kind of one of those unavoidable things. I appreciate what Trezor said about deleting after 90 days. Obviously, you have to keep it for some amount of time in case there's returns or you need to get in contact with them about delayed delivery, whatever it is. I get why you have to keep it for some time, but good on Trezor for deleting it. Ledger, I'm sure they're going to have some new security apparatus based on this data breach. Moving on, an interesting new competitor actually came to the hardware game market. It was called Foundation, and they have their new Passport Bitcoin wallet. It's a Boston-based Foundation Devices company that announced an air-gapped Passport hardware wallet that is completely air-gapped. It is airtight. It is safe. It hasn't touched the internet before you get it. That's what they're saying. This is the first in a line of hardware solutions that the company wants to provide to help customers better protect their privacy and remain free from middlemen. Love the mission. We did an AMA earlier this week with their CEO, Zach Herbert. It was a really cool AMA. If you have questions about it, it was probably asked in the AMA. So check it out, learn a little bit more about it. It could be a really cool thing. I know they're trying to enter the same market that Cold Card is in. And they even gave a shout out, I think, to Cold Card that they used a lot of their foundational code and forked it in order to build the Foundation device. So it is definitely a cool thing to check out. It's got really cool features. It's got, a really good UX UI. We kind of go over that in this AMA. It's cool. Have we gone through and done a comprehensive security check or anything on it? No. Always be careful with new stuff entering the market. Always make sure that it's gone through some rigorous testing. But this is a really cool device, and I think that it'll help people store their own keys, and that's what's most important. Not your keys, not your coins. All right, a couple more pieces of news before we wrap up. First off, CoinFloor is riding a bullish Bitcoin wave with baby boomers. You heard that right. UK's longest running Bitcoin exchange, CoinFloor, is working to convert a decidedly non-digital audience into the latest batch of hardcore hodlers, the boomers. The exchange is capitalizing on what it sees as a growing trend among the generation, which may be just as disheartened by the rampant stimulus action from the world's ingrained economies as younger people are. So here's the deal. We are hearing from a lot of boomers now who are getting close to retirement, who are concerned that they have security with their savings. They want to be able to, rest on all the money that they've made throughout their life. And if we start devaluing our currency, you can see how boomers might want to kind of get out of that sinking ship. So, CoinFloor has been saying that they have a new wave of boomers. They have some great marketing that just came out about it that I found really funny. I think River Financial is also talking about how they have a lot of boomers using their platform. So this is definitely a new market to Bitcoin, and it's exciting. I mean, boomers aren't really known for their tech savvy, but if they're able to start interacting with and using Bitcoin and joining the wave, then, I think that the boomers, I think I saw a chart that said, I wish I had it up. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm actually home right now. We've got some family members who are sick. I feel healthy. Don't worry about me, but staying home, social distancing, isolating myself from everyone else. Don't want to be in the office right now, obviously. But I saw a chart that talked about how boomers actually have, upwards of orders of magnitude more wealth than millennials or Gen X's or Gen Z's. So we're talking about a new generation getting in. That's a whole new bag of wealth that can enter into Bitcoin. And ultimately, that's what needs to happen in order for us to be able to use this as a currency for the world, right? You have to have value stored in it in order for it to be a store of value. So this is really exciting. I hope that this is a trend that continues, and we see more and more people opting for Plan B instead of these broken fiat systems that only give money to the top 1% and leave everyone else in the dust. So that's a thing that people can get behind, and it's exciting to hear people who don't even have that tech savvy starting to get behind the movement. Lastly, CME and Bakkt have received all-time high interest in their Bitcoin futures markets. Yeah, so this past week, with all the price running, we've also seen that two of the biggest institutional trading exchanges for Bitcoin futures have also seen all-time highs. That is big news. That means that people are paying attention, not just retail people, but institutional people. And, this is the sign of a healthy market emerging. I mean, come on. We've got the price moving up. We've got institutions trading futures. We've got boomers getting into the system. We've got, new products coming onto the market. There's so much stuff going on in Bitcoin right now. How can you not feel bullish? I feel bullish just telling you about it. All right. So guys, this is an exciting week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and, stay humble. I'm going to try and stay humble. But it's tough. It's tough. This is really exciting stuff. Stay humble, stack sats, shout out Matt Odell, and guys, cheers. Have a great weekend.